Kevin, coming off, and I don't know if you know the magnitude of what you were able to do along with Zach Britton up in Boston, and here we are 3-4 days later, and people are still talking about what you were able to do, and Buck Showalter, your skipper, is about as happy as anybody. Showed me a text from Kurt Schilling that I think he shared with you, talking about the fact that passion and commitment and fastball command. Is that one of the keys to your recent success?
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing is consistency, really, with all my pitches. I've been able to throw my breaking ball for strikes when I need to, and then for chase also when I've needed to. And so against a lineup like Boston, that's something you have to do, and you have to pitch in and away effectively, and off the plate and in for strikes also. So fastball command has been a huge part of what I've been able to do really the entire second half.
I was talking to Zach Britton before I came out here, and we know he's having a monster year, 44 out of 44 in the save department. But what he said what he sees is that Buck Showalter allows you, and you saw it up in Boston, one-run lead. Usually you're out of the ball game. Mm-hmm. Throw 120 pitches. Not too many pitchers get to do that. Yeah,
and that's something I think you have to earn. And me and Buck have kind of talked about it in the weeks kind of leading up to it. He came to me after a couple outings ago and said, hey, it seems like you get better as the game goes on. Do you agree with that? And I said, yeah, I think every starting pitcher does. You just got to have that confidence that your manager has in you to take that, flip of a coin and kind of throw you out there. And I think that's the only way that you just gain intelligence and experience at this level.
This year, I always kind of thought that kind of starting pitching can be a roller coaster ride. Sometimes you pitch well, you don't win. Sometimes you don't pitch as well you do. You start out, you're 0-5. You pitch much better than that. Really going into late, maybe July, you're 1-6. And since then, you're about as good as any pitcher in the American League. How's that happened?
I think it's a lot of things just going my way. Early in the season, it seemed like I'd break a guy's bat, and it seemed to just kind of fall in somewhere. And when you walk guys and put guys on base, I think that's the biggest difference. Was I was walking guys to start off innings and not getting that ground ball double play the next batter. And so, when you put guys on to start an inning, I think there's like a 75% chance that run's going to score. So when you can limit those and just kind of let guys put the ball in play against us and against our defense, we're going to have a pretty good shot.
Let's go back 4 years ago. I wasn't a number one draft choice. I was a year before the draft. But when you sign, a fourth pick out of all the players in the United States, you negotiate a deal. Does that cause pressure? You get a big signing bonus. Was that something that you kind of internalized, or it's just something you go, okay, down the road I'm going to have some success?
Yeah, I knew that there was going to be a target on my back, and I was the first pitcher taken. So anytime, I know if there was a guy taken before me, if I was taken after him, I'm gunning for that guy. I want to prove to everybody that I'm better than that guy. And so I've known that there's been a target on my back, and there's been some months in my career that have been pretty frustrating. I've had some real lows and some high highs, but I've just tried to be as consistent as I can. And so that's as a starting pitcher, that's really all you try to do. And I think those guys who are 1 and 2s, those are the guys who are as consistent as it comes in this game.
Now, Chris Tillman, I had Robin Roberts on his way to Hall of Fame as my roommate when I was 19. What kind of impact has Chris Tillman had on your ability as a starting pitcher?
Yeah, he's great. He's, he came up as a young age just like myself, and he was also optioned a lot, so we've kind of talked about that before, and it's been cool to kind of watch him. I didn't really know him very well. I showed up my first spring training, and that was the year that he was out of options. So it was fun to see him come into camp, and really that year he was an all-star and threw over 200 innings and did the same thing the next year. So he's kind of been that, that young but also kind of veteran guy that me and Dylan can go and talk to. And we have a lot of guys in this clubhouse who are like that. Ubaldo Jimenez, he's pitched in the World Series before. So, anytime a guy kind of has those accolades, you can kind of reach towards him and ask him questions. And then you got Giovanni, who's thrown over 190 innings, 9 years in a row. And so to have guys like that around, and now Wade also, who's pitched in the AL East before, it's just fun to kind of talk baseball with them and talk pitching, and that's something that we're always kind of bouncing off each other.
So you've won 5 in a row. I'm going to give you one multiple choice, or they can be all. You won 5 in a row because you're pitching better. You've got more run support, more confidence because you've had success, or the goatee. Or all of the above?
I don't know. I'd probably have to say all the above, but the goatee would probably be the closest answer to just, if I had to pick just one, it'd probably be that. Yeah.
Well, don't shave it. Good luck the rest of the way.
It's not going anywhere.
Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.